Hello, I go by Novice, and welcome to my first ever video guide. Before we start the video, I want to mention that there are probably a lot of other different strategies and loadouts, but for today I'll be going over what's been consistently working for me and my team. Special shout out to Spurious for helping me make this video. First and foremost, let's go over tools. I would recommend one bio tracker, one Cfoam, and two sentries, either two snipers or one burst and one sniper. Biotracker is particularly useful for the stealth portion of the level and to help the team navigate, and it synergizes well with the sniper sentry in order to make it more efficient by reducing ammo usage and locking on faster on marked targets. Cfoam is nice to have for a specific S-scan, and to take care of charger scouts that might get in your way of stealthing. Next, let's talk about primary weapons. Most primaries will work, however I do recommend weapons that have good wave clear and ammo efficiency, because resources can be scarce, especially towards the end of the level. Hell Revolver is my go-to on this level due to enemies running in a straight line during the reactor, as well as the Assault Rifle for its range and ease of use. Next, let's go over secondary weapons. Weapons that have reasonable ammo reserves and can do significant damage to tanks, Charger Giants, and Shadow Giants are nice due to the sheer amount of those enemies that you'll be facing throughout this level. My team usually runs a variation of high caliber pistol, choke mod shotgun, revolver, and a sniper. One sniper is enough on this level in order to do significant amounts of damage to tanks and to one-shot shockers you'll see on the level. Lastly, let's talk about melee weapons. Although most melee weapons can work, I do highly recommend the sledgehammer as a general go-to. The sledgehammer can kill chargers with one full charge to the back, unlike the bat and the knife, and they also help with mobility because you can run and charge at the same time, unlike the spear. Let's take a look at the first stage of the map together. Special shout out to user Random Kenny Revived for this map. I'll have a link to his Reddit thread with all the maps listed below. When you load in, you'll be in Zone 442. Pick up all the resources in here and you'll head to door 444 on the east, where you'll find the key to open the door to 445 on the west side. Grab the key from the first area in Zone 444, but do not go to the second area in Zone 444, as an immortal tank will spawn in there as soon as the door opens. Once you find the key, go put the key in for Zone 445 on the west side and finish the team scan. Once you finish the team scan, make sure you pull the door open. When you pull the door open for Zone 445, the Snatcher will appear where the immortal tank spawned, so kite around and make sure you kill the Snatcher before you go into Zone 445 to clear the zone. Here's a clip of me and my team completing the scan to 445 and then kiting around to kill the Snatcher. Because there is an immortal tank walking around, it's beneficial to have one person babysit him in Zone 442, while the others kill the chargers and collect resources in Zone 445. Once all the resources have been distributed, get ready to prepare for the scan that leads into Zone 446. Set both sentries from downstairs looking upstairs in order to catch all the enemies that come through while completing the scans without dying. Here's a short clip of how the scan leading into Zone 446 will look like. Once the scan for Zone 446 is complete, open the door and kill all the chargers inside while someone babysits the immortal tank away from Zone 446. Note that another Snatcher will appear when opening Zone 446, so be on the lookout to kill him. Within Zone 446, you'll see a blood door that leads to Zone 447, which contains a cell that you need to progress. After all the chargers are cleared out in Zone 446, start the bioscan that leads to the blood door to 447, and call the person who's babysitting the immortal tank. Once you complete the scan, run back outside together as a group to bring the immortal tank away from Zone 446. 3 people will go back into Zone 446 to kill the enemies behind the blood door. The enemies contain regular chargers, charger giants, and 2 tanks. Make sure whoever has the sniper is in the room to kill the 2 tanks that appear. Killing the tanks in this room works for our group by having the sniper take the high ground, while 2 other people take his aggro and shoot his tumors when exposed. Here's a clip of my team dealing with the tanks in that room. Once the enemies are clear, go into Zone 447 and loot all the resources. Within 447, there's also going to be a cell. There's a generator in Zone 442, so make sure to take it there for the next portion of this map. Let's look at the map for the next part together. Once the cell is in, the door to the north of 442 will open, which will lead to an S-scan. This S-scan will spawn chargers that always spawn from the west side behind the security door that doesn't open until a command is put in the terminal to start the S-scan. There are 2 effective ways to handle the S-scan. One being the person holding the Cfoam can stand close to the west door and apply Cfoam to the door in 448B, which is the door after the first security door to 448A that opens. If there are any leftover tool refills, they can be given to the Cfoam in order for him to hold the door as long as possible. While the Cfoam is busy holding the door, be sure to be mindful of the snatcher that appears during the S-scan as well as the immortal. Another method that is going to be shown in the next clip is to set the sentries in order to kill the chargers as they come at the spot marked on the map. In this clip, our team used the sentry method, but agreed that Cfoam is probably the safer and more efficient way to handle that S-scan. Note that in this clip, after we set up the sentries, 2 people stayed up top near the terminal, while 2 people stayed on the lower floor next to the sentries in order to kill the chargers, while the people on the top floor dealt with the snatchers and handled the immortal. After the S-scan is complete, you'll be teleported into a zone with only chargers and charger giants. Take them down as a team, and then set up sentries to the north facing up the hill. The terminal command will trigger a wave of chargers to come along with the immortal tank. Here's a clip of how this area and defense will look like. Once you're done dealing with the chargers and the immortal, you'll be teleported to Zone 443, where you can loot the resources in the east, west, and north area. Let's take another look at the map made by Random Kenny. The area highlighted in red will contain the level Stealth area, where you'll see multiple babies, Charger Scouts mothers, and a queen. For this section, coordinate with your bio tracker, and Cfoam kill any scouts that get in your way in order to find the safest path to the reactor highlighted in yellow to the east. Here's a small clip of how the stealth portion will look like. Once you get through the stealth portion, you'll be greeted by Zone 453, which will have no resources. However, if you do find a disposable mine, I would highly recommend holding onto that. Proceed to the reactor in Zone 454 and grab all the consumable resources there. If you leave any resources behind, make note of which resources are in which box. Once the reactor starts, enemies will spawn from the south of the main reactor in Zone 462 circled in blue. Set up your sentries in Zone 461 to defend against the first wave. Try to check Zone 461 as fast as you can, as there are resources in that zone that will be useful. The first wave isn't particularly difficult, so we leave one sentry up in order to help defend the wave in order to conserve resources. Here's a small clip of us handling the first wave. When the first reactor test ends, be prepared to go to Zone 458 located to the east. There will be chargers in there, so be prepared. Me and my team like to send 3 people in to clear the chargers and leave 1 person behind at the main reactor in order to put in the reactor verify. There is also 1 ammo pack in there, so if you're in need of ammo, I highly suggest pinging it out if you have time. Here's a clip of how it'll look like when going into Zone 458 for the first terminal code. Once you put in the first terminal code, go back to your defensive positions in Zone 261 south of the main reactor, and prepare for another defense wave that involves flyers and shockers. Whoever is holding the sniper should deal with the shockers effectively for this portion. Here's a clip of how the second wave defense will look like. Next, we'll be getting the second code in Zone 455 to the north of the main reactor. These rooms will contain shadows and shadow giants. Me and my team shoot out the first room with 3 to 4 people, and use an explosive trip mine on the door leading to the second part of Zone 455 in order to mine kill all the enemies using the door. After the password is obtained, leave one person there, preferably whoever is holding the Cfoam, in order to prevent respawns, as the third code is through Zone 455. This will save your team a lot of time and resources when coming back for the third code. There will also be a fog turbine in Zone 455, so make sure you pick that up to help you with getting the third code. Here's a clip of my team going into Zone 455 and obtaining the next reactor password. After you obtain the password and leave one person in 455 to prevent respawns, 3 people will defend in Zone 261 south of the reactor. This defend will not be too difficult and is doable with 3 people. Expect a mix of strikers, flyers, and hybrids. Near the end of this wave, a tank will come. Split his aggro by standing on opposite sides as shown on the red dots of the map, and kill him as fast as possible. It would be preferable if the person holding the sniper was present to do this. Here's a clip of me and my team dealing with the tank in reactor sequence number 3 by splitting its aggro. Once the tank is dead, leave one person behind at the main reactor terminal, and the 2 others will go back to the person holding Zone 455 from respawning. Bio and Cfoam will go into Zone 456 in order to navigate through the fog and deal with scouts, while the last person holds Zone 455 so the people getting the third reactor code can have an easier time getting out. Here's an example of me and my teammate getting the third reactor code in Zone 456 in the fog. Once the third code is in, you'll defend the last reactor wave in Zone 261 together as a team. Be careful here, as they have a variety of chargers, giant chargers, flyers, as well as another tank to top it off. Me and my team will usually stay until the reset timer hits 5:30, because enemies will come from the main reactor room towards you, so it's a good idea to kill everything before you proceed to the last terminal. Ideally, you'll want to have at least 5 to 4.5 minutes for the last reactor code. And playing right now is a clip of me and my team clearing the last wave before getting the last terminal code. The last reactor code is where I see a lot of people fall apart for this mission, so our team devised a plan in order to make getting the last reactor code as foolproof as possible. Bio and Cfoam will go all the way back to Zone 257, located near where the stealth portion of the level starts. This means you'll have to redo going through all the babies, mothers, queens, and charger scouts as they respawn when you're 2 rooms away. Leave one person on the main terminal, one person on the blue box in order to prevent respawns of scouts and any other enemy that the Bio and Cfoam duo kill. Having only Bio and Cfoam go to get the last terminal code reduces risk as there are less bodies. Once you get into Zone 257, the lights will go out as soon as you reach the terminal for the code, and the Immortal tank will spawn in Zone 460 ahead of the terminal. Quickly get the code and stealth back to the main reactor room as quickly as you can to the rest of your team. If any Mother Queen gets aggroed here, rush towards the exit while closing and Cfoaming doors behind you. Here's a clip of where the last terminal is located and how the stealth portion looks like. When the Bio and Cfoam duo get back to the main reactor, clear the first room in Zone 458 in the east together. Charges will have respawned here, so take care of them quickly. Go through and see from the door highlighted in light blue and keep the doors highlighted in red shut. Enemies will go through the door highlighted in blue due to that being the quickest way to get to you, taking that the doors in red are shut. The extraction door is to the east and requires a team scan. The extraction scan itself is extremely fast. Put down sentries if you have any ammo left in them while extracting. And congratulations, you finished the level. Here's a short clip of how extraction will look like. Thank you for watching my first ever guide, and I hope you found this guide useful. This was my first time editing in Premiere Pro and my first attempt in making a guide, so any feedback on how I can improve would be appreciated. My full run will be listed in the description in case you want to watch how a relatively clean run will look like. Take care and see you guys down in the complex.